Hello, and welcome again to a very English craft room, and another in the scrapbooking series. This time we'll be looking at a photograph taken at Butlins when I was a child, which was a holiday camp, well, still is a holiday camp, but has undergone several regenerations since I was there as a child. So I decided that once I'd scanned the photo and printed it out, that I would then colour one version of the photo. It is actually two identical photos, with some red to reflect the colours that would actually have been there. So the red coats wearing red, and the little results boards there that we were holding in red as well, just to give a little bit of a pop of colour. So I'm just trying to decide whether I'm going to use the black or the red as the main background, and whether the black or the red will be the matting, so just which way around I want to do it. The red coats were the team of staff that provided the entertainment for both adults and children at Butlins. The photograph here shows me taking part in a competition called A Picture of Health, which I actually won, which was rather ironic, and probably why they chose me was because I was the only one in the whole of the competition who couldn't touch my toes. So here I am now inking the edges of the photographs to give a slightly aged look and some definition to the edge. It just gives a slightly more finished look. So after I'd inked it, I then decided actually I need to trim it down a bit more, so I will ink that edge again, as you can see just there. We went to Butlins a number of years when I was a child, and it really was an enjoyable place to go to as a child, and for the adults who were with you, your parents, etc., they had the reassurance that you were being entertained and looked after well, so they could actually relax and take some time for themselves. So I decided I would use some of these gold corners, because a lot of the photographs that were displayed there were mounted using little gold corners like this, and lots of old photograph albums were sort of red and gold and black, so just wanted to reflect that sort of feel from the 1970s. Talking of the 1970s, can you see the glorious wallpaper that's behind us on those photographs? I believe that would have been shades of orange, red, brown, pink, in glorious 1970s Technicolor. I haven't used the original photograph here because I wanted to keep that separate and keep it in the album that it actually belongs in, so I have just scanned it in and printed it out onto photo paper, which then allowed me, like I say, to colour in some of it there, as you can see, using watercolour pens. So just using the trimmer there and using the lines on it to guide me, to assist me to get a relatively even border all the way around the outside. A lot of it's done by eye, you get a feel for how it should be. So this is speeded up quite a lot, as you don't really want to sit there and watch me doing it all in real time. It does take quite a lot of time to do these things. We did take my children to Butlins. They were a little bit older than I was there, but however we found it really had changed a lot since then. They've got lovely swimming pools and activities for them. However, a lot of it, other than the swimming pool, you have to pay for additional now, whereas when I was a child it was all included. So I think that puts a little bit of pressure on parents sometimes. So I'm using some alphas here to spell out the title, Butlins. I hadn't quite got everything as it should be, so I ended up trimming some of the letters to form other letters. So you can see there I took a part of a T to form an L, and then I still hadn't got enough to do all in the same alpha, so I've picked out a second red one there to do the picture, and it will say Picture of Health. And I'm not sure I even had enough to do Picture of Health in the red, and I think I might have actually used some gold later on as well. Comment below if you also went to Butlins as a child. So there you can see I've printed out some little photographs that were actually pictures of postcards from Google Images. And they are postcards of Butlins at Minehead, where I went as a child, from about the same era as I would have gone, and I'm going to cut them into individual little rectangles and scatter them around the page. It just gives a little bit of a feel of the environment that Butlins was. So there we go, I've got the gold out to do the health because I hadn't got enough red. This is actually quite a simple layout to do and didn't actually require much embellishment because the two photographs take up most of the page and these little postcard photographs will take up the majority of the rest. One of the little postcard size photographs there is of the viewfinder thing that it's like a viewfinder keyring, and it used to have the sort of photographs that they took, your souvenir photographs that you would purchase. You could get them as a key ring and you'd look into the key ring and the photograph would be magnified inside. Comment down below if you also had some of those magnifier viewfinder key rings from either Butlins or indeed anywhere else, and if it was from somewhere else, let me know where that was. So yesterday I went over to see my parents, and my dad gave me on when he transferred them onto my external hard drive for me, a whole load of photographs that he had found that were from slides that were taken either when I was a child or indeed when he was a child, of various family members and various holidays. So I've got lots of material there to be doing more scrapbooking, so I need to sort through those, print some of them out and get on with the job. So just trying to decide where I'm going to put the actual title, and I think I decide to put the word Butlins on the top there and the picture of health a little bit further down, and I do believe that the picture of health actually does overlap the photograph slightly. This is something I've started doing quite a lot of actually, letting things impinge or sit on top of the photographs, and it can actually help draw your eye to the photograph. Obviously you're not going to cover the main subject matter of the photograph with anything else, because otherwise that would just be defeating the object really. So I'm just popping the letters basically on top of the gentleman there who was the compere, rather than the subject matter, which is myself and the two other girls who came second and third in the competition. I can't remember how many of us were actually in the competition, but there would have been more than just the three of us. It was quite a popular thing back then, these funny little competitions that they did. So for the children they would do things like picture of health, and then they would do things like knobbly knees competitions, glamorous granny, that kind of thing. So now I'm just popping those little postcard photos in through my Xyron sticker maker just to put some adhesive on the back of them, and then I'm going to pop them onto the page. So you'll see in a second that they're all in a little row on the backing paper. There you go. Unfortunately I still haven't got the habit of doing that right underneath the camera so you can see me actually doing it. I must try harder. So just sticking them down now. And it is just a case of randomly sort of scattering them around the page really, filling the space. So just using my little dental tool there just to lift up one of them, because I wanted to pop that one in underneath rather than covering more of that one there, which is actually of the swimming pool. You can see there the blue, it's the outdoor swimming pool. So just about finished. Just tucking them in underneath the photograph there. That's it, making them sit nicely. So like I say, just about finished. Just sticking the photo down a little bit more. I'd noticed it was sort of gapping a little bit, so I just wanted to make sure it was properly adhered to the background. So just using some double-sided tape. Because although those corners are designed for holding photographs in, they don't always stick forever. So it's good to make sure that it's adhered properly. So I'm just going to now write some journaling, and I'm going to use a white pen just so that it actually stands out nicely on the black there, and I think it goes quite well because there is white in the rest of the layout. I find I'm doing a lot more journaling on my layouts now than I used to do a couple of years ago, and I think actually it's quite important to either have some journaling where you can see it or tucked away behind, because otherwise how are the people who may be looking at these in a couple of generations time going to know what the actual layout was about and what memories you're trying to keep? And I think that's kind of what the difference between scrapbooking and just having a photograph album is anyway. If you like to journal on your scrapbooks, give this layout, this video should I say, a thumbs up. So now this is finished, I would ask you to click on the like and subscribe buttons if you have enjoyed what you've seen, so that you can be notified when more videos come out. And I'd like to thank you for joining me once again, and hope that I see you soon in a very English craft room.